I remember.
My enemies are falling into my traps perfectly.
Mad, Your Grace, for ignoring this. You have a fortune, a beautiful woman who loves you. Take the money, take the woman, and live your life.
Excuse me. I remember liking the movie the very first time I saw it, and I'm like, I really want to watch it again, so I got it, and then I rewatched it, and then I liked it even more because of Person of Interest, the TV show, which I highly recommend. Jim Caviezel now is one of my favorite actors, along with Heath Ledger and a few I can't really remember. But this one is a great one of my favorite revenge stories because he actually gets his revenge for like two or one or two people I think he got his revenge on. But yeah, but the rest he for sure he got his revenge on Guy Pearce because Guy Pearce is bad, man. He didn't even know because Jim Caviezel got a letter from Napoleon, I think, or someone named Napoleon. And then Guy Pearce is like, hey, why didn't you tell me about that you got a letter from him? But Jim Caviezel's like, no, because Napoleon told me not to tell anybody. But Guy Pearce didn't want to understand that, so he's like, hey, this man, Jim Caviezel, the characters, of course, he has a note from Napoleon, a guy that you guys really want to capture but never have captured before. So they take him into interrogation, as well as Guy Pearce wants Jim Caviezel's life because he wants his wife and everything because he just envies Jim Caviezel's character. But that's a side. That's for a side right now. So Jim Caviezel, he's like, oh, I have the letter from Napoleon. Here you go. And then the guy who's like interrogating him is like, he opens the letter and he's like, oh, burn, get out. You're going to an island now. Which the island, especially that part like of the movie, is one of my favorite like parts. If that makes sense, because when he find Priest, I think that's his name. Hey, Priest. I never really, I don't remember his real name, even if they said his real name. I think it was just Priest. Yeah, he's been stuck there for a long time. I have no idea, or I don't remember why he's been stuck there, but he's been digging for like 6 years with like a chisel and a hammer, and then he finally gets he digs into another cell, and guess what? It's Jim Caviezel's cell. How coincidental is that? I don't know why I zoomed into the camera. I'm sorry. But Jim Caviezel's like, "What are you doing here?" And then they kept on talking. Jim Caviezel lost his religion to God because he's like, why didn't he help me? Why didn't you help me? I'm Jim Caviezel. Why did you help me? That's Jesus, not God, but you get the point. So, and then they break out, and then yada yada. That's like the main plot. So that's this. I like this movie very much a lot. I don't have really much negatives to say. I don't have any negatives to say about the movie, unless like the ending kind of like drags out in some scenes, but honestly, I don't have any negatives to say about the Count of Monte Cristo. Hey, you guys can see yourselves, haha. Well, another thing I liked is when he met another guy, and they become friends, and then the other guy's like, I owe my life to you, because he could have killed him, but no, he kept him alive, because he's a good person. So they found a map, and then they went to the map location, and then they became rich beyond belief, because they found a bunch of gold of dead guy that I can't remember the name to, but they became super rich, and then and the island was called Monte Cristo, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna name myself the Count of Monte Cristo, because count was what they used before in like the ancient times, like yeah, I don't know when. Really, I have nothing wrong with the movie. It's a great film. Fun story. When he became the Count of Monte Cristo, his hair, I'm like, I want that. I want to look just like him. I don't know why. It looks so cool to me. Well, it still does look cool, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not. No, I'm stuck with this.
When I arrived in the catacombs, I watched as the criminals, who tied Albert to a wall, threatened to cut off his finger and send it to his father as evidence of his abduction. The boy's reply to all this was, "Do your worst."